The human fleet waited silently among the asteroid belts near Erebos. Hidden from casual sensors, they moved like shadows, ready to strike. Every ship, every drone, every weapon system had been tested countless times in simulations. Humans were not numerous, but they were precise, intelligent. Above Erebos, the first Zitharian scout ships approached. Sleek, silver vessels, each armed with advanced energy weapons, moved with confidence. The Zitharians had expected nothing. Reports had told them the humans were extinct. Yet now, the alien scouts were entering a zone full of silent, hidden defenses, unaware of the traps that awaited them. On the bridge of Erebos' main command ship, Captain Marilyn observed the approaching fleet. Her eyes were calm, but her mind raced with possibilities. She had trained her crew for this moment, the moment when humanity, long forgotten, would remind the galaxy of its strength. Target the lead scout, she commanded. Deploy drones. Initiate Cloaked Strike Pattern Alpha. Series of drones launched from the human ships, their small frames invisible to the Zitharian sensors. They moved swiftly, weaving through asteroid fields and solar debris. Each drone carried a small energy disruptor designed to temporarily disable shields. The lead Zitharian scout ship suddenly shuddered. Its energy shields flickered, alarms blaring in its bridge. The alien crew scrambled, firing blindly at empty space, trying to locate the source of the disruption. "Commander," the Zitharian pilot shouted, "we are under attack. Our shields are failing." The human fleet watched quietly. They did not fire the main weapons yet. This was the first lesson. Humans fought with intelligence and control, striking not with brute force, but with strategy. Marilyn's voice was steady as she addressed her fleet. "Hold position. Let them come closer. Remember, we fight smart, not fast. Patience wins battles." Below, in the Zitharian flagship, Grand Admiral Crither leaned over the tactical display, his eyes narrowing. "Report. How is this possible?" "Humans were extinct," Admiral Commander Varen replied, his voice tense. "The scouts encountered resistance. Unknown defenses. Our weapons are ineffective." Crither's mandibles clicked sharply. "Impossible. Prepare the main fleet. We will test their defenses directly." The Zitharians were already learning their first hard truth. Humans were prepared. Every trap had been calculated, every ambush carefully positioned, as the scout ships attempted to retreat. They found themselves surrounded by asteroid fields rigged with magnetic traps. Their engines flared, struggling to maintain control, while human drones attacked with pinpoint accuracy. The aliens' confidence wavered. In the human command tower, Marilyn allowed herself a small, quiet smile. "They think they are superior," she said softly. "But superiority is not in size or number, it is in mind, in strategy, in courage." The first Zitharian ship finally broke free, escaping with heavy damage. Its report back to the fleet was incomplete, filled with confusion and alarm. The other scouts hesitated. They had expected a weak, primitive civilization. Instead, they had found humans who were disciplined, intelligent, and prepared. Meanwhile, on Erebos, humans continued their maneuvers. Fighter pilots weaved through asteroid clusters, practicing coordinated attacks that seemed almost choreographed. Drones flitted in and out of view, striking at Zitharian sensors and weapons, then disappearing before the aliens could react. "Tobin. Status report on the new drone system," Marilyn asked. Tobin, the young engineer, smiled confidently. "Captain, they are performing perfectly. Stealth systems are holding. They can strike multiple targets simultaneously without being detected. The Zitharians won't know what hit them." Marilyn nodded. "Excellent. Keep them ready. We are only beginning." On the Zitharian fleet, panic began to spread. Grand Admiral Crither struggled to maintain control. "Send reconnaissance ships," he ordered. "Find the humans' command center. Destroy it. Show them the Empire's power." But every move they made was anticipated. Humans had studied Zitharian tactics for decades. Every fleet formation, every predictable maneuver had been analyzed and countered. When Zitharian ships moved to encircle the human fleet, Hidden mines detonated in precise patterns, forcing the aliens to retreat. "Captain Len," one officer said, "the Zitharians are beginning to realize we are more than a small colony." "Yes," she replied, her voice steady. "They are learning. This is what we wanted. Let them understand that humans are not weak. Let them feel the strength of those they believed were gone." As the hours passed, skirmishes continued. Each encounter left the Zitharians more confused and cautious. Small groups of humans struck and retreated, never overextending. It's always careful to minimize risk while maximizing effect. The humans' tactics combined intelligence with creativity. Some drones created holographic duplicates of human ships, confusing enemy sensors. Others jammed communications, forcing the Zitharians to rely on guesswork. Every strike was precise, calculated, and effective. The Zitharians began to whisper among themselves. "How can this be? They were supposed to be gone." "Reports must be wrong," another said. "We cannot fight what no longer exists." But Mara Lynn and her fleet did exist, and their strength was growing with every passing moment. The humans were not fighting out of desperation. They were fighting with confidence, with control, and with purpose. At one point, a Zitharian ship attempted a direct assault on the human command ship. Mara Lynn had anticipated this. She activated a series of defensive shields and launched drones that disabled the alien engines. The attack was repelled without human casualties. The alien shock deepened. "Captain Lynn," an officer said, "they are retreating for now. But more ships are on the way." "Let them come," she replied. "We are ready. The first wave has learned a lesson they will never forget. Humans are not to be underestimated." Back on the Zitharian flagship, Crither's rage was visible in every movement. "Prepare the main attack," he barked. "We will crush them before they grow stronger." But already his crew's confidence had begun to crack. The humans were clever, strategic, and united. They had turned a remote, hidden world into a fortress. And their tactics had already shattered the pride of the first Zitharian scouts. On Erebos, humans celebrated quietly. Small victories were noted, lessons were learned, and adjustments were made. No one was overconfident. Humans had long memories and knew that the war was only beginning. But tonight, the people of Erebos had sent a message across the stars. Humanity was alive, and humanity was unbroken. As Mara Lynn looked out from the command tower balcony, she saw the first lights of the main Zitharian fleet approaching the sector. Massive ships, gleaming like silver mountains against the darkness of space, moved with precision and power. The galaxy had forgotten humans, but humans had not forgotten themselves. Mara Lynn's voice, calm yet commanding, addressed her officers one final time before the main battle. They thought we were gone. They believed humans were extinct. Tonight, they have seen the truth. And tomorrow, the galaxy will witness it fully. Prepare the fleet. Humanity fights tonight not as victims, not as survivors, but as a force they will never forget. The night of Erebos was still. But beneath that calm, the engines of hidden ships hummed. Drones flitted silently through asteroid fields, and humans prepared for a confrontation that would change the course of history. The Zitharians, confident in their superiority, had no idea what awaited them. The first contact had shocked the aliens. The humans were ready. They had shown strength, intelligence, and resolve. And this was only the beginning. Tomorrow, the true test would come. The Zitharian main fleet would arrive. The galaxy had long believed humanity was gone, weak, and defeated. But as humans prepared their defenses, Mara Lynn knew one thing. They would soon discover the impossible. Humanity was not just surviving. They were armed, united, and unbroken. The sun rose over Erebos, casting pale gold light across the planet's cities, but no human slept. For generations, they had learned that peace could be fleeting, and survival required constant vigilance. Today, the humans of Erebos were not merely defending their home, they were striking a message across the stars. Captain Mara Lynn stood on the bridge of the command ship, her gaze sweeping the sector. The first Zitharian scouts had retreated, their reports filled with confusion and fear. But Mara knew the main fleet would not wait long. They would come, proud, arrogant, and armed with overwhelming force. Humans could not match the Zitharians in numbers. But they had something the aliens did not expect: creativity, adaptability, and unity. "Prepare the fleet," Mara commanded. "Today we fight not just to survive, but to show the galaxy what humanity is." Below the command tower, engineers worked frantically. Drones were recharged, ships were refueled, and weapon systems were calibrated. Every human knew their role. Every human knew the stakes. In the asteroid fields surrounding Erebos, human scouts maneuvered quietly. Small fighters darted between floating rocks invisible to the Zitharian sensors. Each ship carried humans who had trained for decades in tactics, stealth, and precision strikes. "Tobin, are the drones ready?" Mara asked, turning to the young engineer. "They are more than ready, Captain," Tobin replied, his eyes bright. "Autonomous systems are online. They can coordinate attacks faster than any Zitharian fleet can respond. Our traps are in place. We control the battlefield." Mara nodded. "Good. Let's remind them why humans survived." Far above, the Zitharian main fleet emerged from warp space. Massive ships stretched across the horizon, each bristling with weapons and shields. Grand Admiral Crither watched the sector with contempt and expectation. "Humans are foolish to resist," he said. "We will crush them in a single strike. Prepare all units." This is a demonstration of Zitharian supremacy. But his officers hesitated. Admiral One said, "Reports from scouts indicate humans are not simple survivors. Their defenses are adaptive. Their strategy is unusual." Crither's mandibles clicked in irritation. "They are remnants, nothing more. Any victory they claim is temporary. They will die quickly. Engage immediately." The first shots were fired, but the humans did not panic. They had anticipated the Zitharians' arrogance and overconfidence. Automated drones moved ahead of the human fleet, creating false targets, deploying magnetic traps, and jamming alien sensors. Zitharian weapons struck empty space, while human fighters darted in and out of asteroid clusters. Delivering precise strikes on key enemy systems, Tobin Mara Lin said, "Launch the holographic decoys." A swarm of small drones split from the main fleet, projecting dozens of glowing images of human ships. Zitharian sensors were overwhelmed, unable to distinguish real ships from illusions. The aliens fired blindly, wasting precious energy on non-existent targets. "Impressive," one human pilot whispered. "Dodging a beam that had been aimed at a decoy?" "This is only the beginning, Mara," Lin said quietly. She knew the Zitharians would soon realize that intelligence and strategy could outweigh raw numbers. As the battle unfolded, human ingenuity shone. One squadron of ships maneuvered close to a gas giant, using its gravity to slingshot and strike the enemy's flank. Another group deployed stealth drones into the asteroid belt, detonating small energy pulses that disrupted alien shields. Every move was deliberate, every attack precise. The Zitharians, confident in their technological superiority, were shocked. Their large ships were powerful, but slow to react. Every misstep was punished by humans who were small, fast, and clever. Grand Admiral Crithar growled, watching his fleet struggle. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "They were supposed to be weak. Their numbers are insignificant." And yet, his mandibles clicked sharply, betraying his frustration. "Adapt. Adapt. Do not let humans outthink you." But adaptation was precisely what humans excelled at. Captain Mara Lin had spent years studying Zitharian tactics. Every predictable pattern, every formation, every expected response had been prepared for. When the Zitharians attempted a frontal assault, human ships feigned retreat, luring them into hidden fields of mines and energy disruptors. Several alien ships were disabled, their crews stunned by what they had underestimated. In the midst of the battle, Mara Lin took a moment to address her fleet. "Remember, we fight not as many, but as one. Watch each other's backs. Use your minds. Humanity survives because we think, we adapt, and we act together. Today, we show the galaxy our strength. A daring young pilot, Rin, maneuvered behind a damaged Zetherian cruiser. Using a combination of cloaking and speed, he delivered a direct strike to the ship's propulsion systems. The cruiser spun helplessly, unable to move. A vivid demonstration that humans could turn even disadvantage into advantage. Excellent work, Rin Mara, Lin said over the comms. All units, watch and learn. Every moment counts. Every strike matters. As the battle continued, humans began targeting alien supply lines. Small cargo vessels carrying fuel and weapons were intercepted by human fighters and drones. Without supplies, even the massive Zetherian fleet would be weakened over time. Captain Lin, an officer reported, "We have located the enemy command ship. It is heavily shielded, but we have a chance to strike if we coordinate properly." Mara Lin considered the options. "We will not rush. We will strike together. The enemy believes they are superior, but arrogance can be used against them. Prepare the attack team. Timing is everything." On the Zetherian flagship, Crither's frustration grew. The humans were not only surviving, they were winning skirmishes, damaging key ships, and undermining his fleet's morale. "Impossible," he growled. "How can a species thought extinct stand against the Empire?" Back on Erebos, humans continued their relentless strategy. Drones lured Zetherian ships into asteroid traps, while fighter squadrons flanked vulnerable targets. Every attack was coordinated, every movement precise. Even the smallest human ship could strike with devastating effect. "Tobin," Mara Lin said, "deploy the adaptive shields. The next wave must see the full power of human ingenuity." Tobin activated the systems, and a network of energy shields expanded across key positions, allowing humans to maneuver with relative safety while exposing the Zetherians to traps and strikes. The aliens' frustration turned into fear. Reports of losses, confusion, and inexplicable failures began to spread through the fleet. Humans were proving something crucial. Survival alone was not enough. They could think, adapt, and overcome. They could use intelligence as a weapon, turning each disadvantage into an opportunity. Hours passed. By the end of the day, several Zetherian ships had been disabled or forced to retreat. Human losses were minimal, thanks to careful strategy and precise planning. The aliens, once arrogant and dismissive, were beginning to understand that humans were no ordinary prey. They were a species. Reborn in strength and unity, Mara Lin looked over the battlefield from her command ship. Smoke and debris floated in space, remnants of the skirmishes. She knew the battle was far from over, but the first real victories had been won. Humans had struck fear and uncertainty into the Zetherians' hearts. "The galaxy will remember this day," she said softly. "They thought we were gone. They believed humans were weak. And yet here we are alive, unbroken and stronger than they imagined." Right. Her officers nodded, determination shining in their eyes. "The Zetherians will not forget," one said. "No," Mara Lin replied, "and they should not. Let this be the first lesson. Humanity survives, and humanity fights as one. We are not merely a species they are about to see a force they cannot ignore." As Erebos rotated silently under the rising sun, humans prepared for the next wave. The Zetherians would come again, larger and stronger. But humans had shown their edge, intelligence, strategy, an unyielding spirit. The first major contact had shaken the Zetherians. They had expected easy victory, but humans had turned the fight into a lesson in adaptability and unity. The galaxy had long forgotten humanity, but humans had not forgotten themselves. They were ready for whatever came next, and as the night fell over Erebos once again, Mara Lin looked at the stars. She knew the main battle was coming. The Zetherians would strike with full force, but humans were ready. They were small in number, but their minds were sharp, their hearts strong, and their spirits unbroken. Humanity had taken the first step back into the galaxy. The first contact had ended, but the war for recognition, survival, and respect was only beginning. And one thing was certain: the Zetherians would never underestimate humans again. The Zetherian fleet hovered on the edge of Erebos' system, massive ships reflecting the light of distant suns. They had underestimated humanity, and now their confidence was shaken. The first skirmishes had cost them ships and morale. Yet Grand Admiral Kretha refused to admit defeat. His pride demanded a crushing victory. "Prepare the main assault," Kretha commanded, his mandibles clicking in irritation. "Humans cannot survive against the Empire. They will break, and we will finish them." But his officers were uneasy. Admiral 1 said, "The humans are unpredictable. Their tactics. They are learning from each encounter. Our formations are failing." Kretha's eyes narrowed. "Then adapt. Destroy them no matter what it takes." Meanwhile, on Erebos, Captain Mara Lynn stood in the command tower, studying the incoming fleet. The humans had learned from the first contact. Now, they would take the fight to the Zitharians. It was no longer about survival. It was about showing the galaxy that humans could not be ignored. "Deploy all units," Mara commanded. "This is our counterattack. Remember, strike hard, strike smart, and protect each other." Today, we turn the tide. In the asteroid belt surrounding Erebos, human ships moved with precision. Fighters darted between rocks, using gravity and debris to hide from Zitharian sensors. Drones launched ahead, creating decoys and disrupting enemy shields. Every maneuver was calculated to force the aliens into mistakes. "Tobin, activate the adaptive weapons," Mara said. Tobin smiled as the energy pulses spread across the fleet. The human weapons could adjust in real time to the Zitharian shields. Finding weak points and striking with precision, the Zitharians charged, confident in their superior numbers. Massive beams of energy lit the darkness of space as ships fired in unison. But humans were ready. They used terrain strategy and coordination to avoid the brunt of the assault while striking the aliens' flanks. Small human squadrons struck key ships, disabling engines and weapon systems. Every move was unexpected, forcing the Zitharians to scatter and regroup. The aliens had underestimated the humans' intelligence, and now it was costing them dearly. Mara Lynn addressed her fleet calmly. "Remember, unity is our greatest weapon. Strike together, cover each other, and never underestimate the enemy. We are not just defending Erebos, we are reclaiming humanity's place in the galaxy." In the midst of battle, human ingenuity shone. Fighters used gravitational slingshots around asteroids to accelerate into enemy lines. Drones cloaked themselves and infiltrated alien ships, delivering precision strikes that caused chaos in Zitharian ranks. Every human action was measured, every strike deliberate. The Zitharians were shocked. Their fleet, massive and powerful, was struggling to adapt. Ships meant to dominate were falling to clever tactics, traps, and unpredictable movements. The human strategy was not brute force. It was intelligence, flexibility, and courage. One daring human squadron, led by Pilot Rin, maneuvered close to the Zitharian command ship. Using cloaking and speed, they targeted the ship's propulsion system. Beams struck weak points in the engines, causing explosions that sent shockwaves through the surrounding fleet. The command ship staggered, shields flickering under pressure. On the command bridge of the Zitharian flagship, Kretha roared in frustration. "Impossible. How can humans, thought extinct, strike so effectively? Adapt. Adapt, or we will fail." But every attempt to reorganize was met with another human tactic. Mines detonated in precise sequences. Holographic decoys confused targeting systems. Coordinated strikes forced the aliens to retreat. Humans had anticipated many possibilities and were ready for each one. On Erebos, Mara Lynn smiled quietly. "They are learning their first lesson," she said. "Humans survive not because we are strong in number, but because we are strong in mind and spirit. Let this be the day they remember." As the battle continued, humans began targeting Zitharian supply ships. Small, agile fighters intercepted transports carrying fuel and ammunition. Without supplies, even the massive Zitharian fleet would weaken quickly. The humans' ability to think ahead, to disrupt not only the front lines, but the enemy's logistics, gave them a clear advantage. "Captain Lin," an officer reported, "we have a chance to strike the enemy command ship directly. Their shields are weakened, from our previous attacks. Marilyn considered the situation. We will not rush. Precision over force. Coordinate all units. This strike must succeed. Humanity's message will be clear. In a daring maneuver, human fighters, drones, and ships converged on the Zitharian flagship. Stealth systems, decoys, and adaptive weapons worked together, targeting engines, shields, and weapons. Explosions rippled across the alien ship, sending debris into surrounding space. The command ship staggered, unable to maintain formation. Crither's fury reached its peak. "Destroy them all," he bellowed. "We cannot fail." But it was too late. Human strategy had turned the tide. The Zitharian fleet, once confident, was now scattered, confused, and vulnerable. Smaller groups retreated, while some ships were destroyed or disabled. Humans had learned from each encounter and had used their knowledge, speed, and precision to dominate. On Erebos, humans celebrated small victories quietly. No cheering, just determination and focus. They knew the battle was not over, but the turning point had come. Humanity had proven it could not only survive, but triumph against an enemy that had once believed humans were extinct. "Captain Lin," an officer said, "the main fleet is in disarray. Many ships are retreating or disabled. The enemy command ship is badly damaged." "Excellent," Marilyn replied. "Now, we solidify our advantage. Pursue, disable, but do not overextend. Every strike must be calculated. Today, humans show the galaxy that we are unbroken." As night fell on Erebos, the human fleet tightened its formation. Drones patrolled, fighters remained ready, and ships prepared for any counterattack. The Zitharians were powerful, but humans had shown that intelligence, strategy, unity could overcome sheer size and firepower. The first Zitharian defeat was more than tactical, it was symbolic. The aliens had believed humans were gone, weak, and irrelevant. But humans had proven otherwise. They had turned apparent weakness into strength, disadvantage into opportunity. Humanity's edge was clear: thought, courage, and unity. Marilyn looked at the stars, calm yet determined. They believed humans were extinct. They believed they could dominate easily. Today, we show them the truth. Humanity survives. Humanity fights. Humanity prevails. Her officers nodded, inspired by the victory and mindful of the work still ahead. They had disrupted the Zitharian fleet, disabled their command, and won the first true strategic victory. But the war was not yet over. Humanity needed to remain vigilant, adaptive, and united. The Zitharians would return, stronger and more determined. But now they understood something crucial. Humans were not weak. Humans were not gone. And humans were not to be underestimated. The Battle of Erebos had reached its turning point. Humans had shown the galaxy their edge. They had shown that strategy, intelligence, and unity could overcome even the most formidable foe. And they had shown that humanity, thought extinct, was alive, armed, and unbroken. As the human fleet regrouped, preparing for the next phase, Captain Marilyn addressed her officers. "Today, we fought not just for Erebos, not just for survival, but for humanity itself. We have shown the Zitharians a force they cannot ignore. Let this be the lesson that echoes across the stars. Humans are unbroken, unstoppable, and united, and we will not fall." The night was silent over Erebos, but in the depths of space, stars themselves seemed to shimmer with the promise of humanity's return. The Zitharians would recover and strike again, but the humans had seized the initiative. They had gained the advantage, turned the tide, and proven that, even against overwhelming odds, humanity's edge was real. Marilyn stood on the balcony of the command tower, looking out at the distant stars. The galaxy had forgotten humanity, but humans had not forgotten themselves. They were ready. They were strong. And the universe would soon learn that humanity was not only alive, but unbroken. The battle was far from over. But the first major victory had been won. Humanity had claimed the turning point, and as dawn broke over Erebos, A quiet determination settled across the planet. The Zetherians would never again underestimate humans. The aftermath of the battle hung in the quiet void above Erebos. Smoke and debris floated slowly in space, remnants of the Zetherian fleet that had once seemed unstoppable. Humanity had won a decisive victory, but Captain Marilyn knew that triumph required more than celebration. It demanded focus, strategy, and the courage to push forward. "Status report," Mara ordered, her voice calm but firm. An officer stepped forward. "Captain, the Zetherian command ship has been disabled. Remaining enemy ships are scattered and retreating. Casualties among humans are minimal. We control the sector." Mara allowed herself a small, quiet smile. "Excellent. Notify all units. Maintain patrols, but begin recovery and resupply. Today we fight, tomorrow we rebuild." Even in victory, the humans remained disciplined. Crews worked on damaged ships, repaired drones, and prepared defenses against potential counterattacks. Every soldier, engineer, and pilot understood the significance of this moment. Humanity had proven itself not just alive, but formidable. Far across the sector, Zetherian commanders convened. The pride of the Empire was wounded. Ships were damaged, their formations disrupted, and the supposedly extinct humans had outsmarted them at every turn. Grand Admiral Kryther paced the bridge of his flagship, struggling to maintain composure. "How is this possible?" he demanded, his voice tense. Humans were to be nothing, extinct, weak, and yet. He clenched his claws, frustration radiating from every movement. "We underestimated them. We were fools." His officers exchanged uneasy glances. "They are not simply surviving," Admiral once said. "They are organized, strategic, and united. They have adapted to our tactics and outsmarted us at every step." Kryther growled, a sound that echoed like distant thunder. "Then we retreat for now. But humanity will not escape forever. The Empire will return." Meanwhile, on Erebos, humans were already looking forward. Captain Marilyn walked through the city observing her people. Civilians, soldiers, and engineers moved with purpose. Children watched the skies, imagining the stars as gateways to a future filled with possibility. Humanity had survived centuries of hardship, and now it would thrive again. "Tobin," Mara said, as she entered the engineering bay, prepared the next wave of drones and ships. "We cannot remain complacent. The galaxy is vast, and humans have a place in it." Tobin nodded eagerly. "Yes, Captain. We have plans ready. New systems, new defenses, and new weapons. Humanity will not be caught off guard again." Mara smiled. "Good. Let us show the galaxy that humanity is not only alive, but unbroken." As the weeks passed, humans repaired damaged ships, upgraded defenses, and expanded their influence in nearby star systems. They sent messages of peace and warning alike. Allies were welcomed, enemies were cautioned, and the story of their return spread across the galaxy. "Captain Lin," an officer said one day, "we are receiving communications from other species. They have heard of our victory. Many are cautious, others curious. Some wish to ally with us." Mara considered the messages. "We have been underestimated for too long. Now we have the chance to shape our future. Let the galaxy see what humans are capable of: intelligence, courage, and unity. We will build alliances, defend our worlds, and ensure humanity's place among the stars." Even the Zetherians, humbled by their defeat, could not ignore the truth. Their scouts reported the humans' efficiency, their coordination, and their resilience. Everywhere the Empire looked, humans were no longer the forgotten species. They were a force to respect, and in some cases to fear. Back on Erebos, life returned to a rhythm of purpose. Children played in the shadow of training grounds. Soldiers drilled with renewed energy, and engineers designed new ships and drones. Humanity had reclaimed not only its home, but its confidence. Mara Lin walked to the top of the command tower. Looking out at the horizon of space, the stars stretched endlessly, silent witnesses to the human resurgence. She thought of the ancestors who had fought and survived countless trials. and she understood that every hardship, every battle, had led to this moment. Humans were believed gone, she said softly, but we have returned. Stronger, smarter, and unbroken. The galaxy will never forget the day humanity stood again. From the shadows of the galaxy, other species began to take notice. Some came in curiosity, others in caution, and a few in fear. They had watched the Zetherians fail against humans. They understood that a new balance of power was emerging. Tobin Mara said later, "Prepare the next fleet. We will expand our reach, explore new worlds, and protect our colonies." Humanity's future depends on action, not hesitation. Tobin nodded. "Yes, Captain. Humanity will not remain hidden. We will be seen, respected, and remembered." In the coming months, human explorers ventured beyond Erebos. They rebuilt lost colonies, established trade and communication networks, forged alliances with species who had long doubted humanity's endurance. Each victory, each new relationship, further cemented humanity's place in the galaxy. The Zetherians, though defeated, remained a force to reckon with. But the lesson was clear. Humans were not weak, humans were not gone, and humans could not be underestimated. They had survived unimaginable trials and emerged stronger than ever. On the command tower of Erebos, Mara Lynn reflected on the journey. We were hidden. We were underestimated. But we endured. Today, humans are not merely survivors. We are a civilization reborn, a people unbroken, and the galaxy will remember it. As night fell over Erebos, the planet shone quietly, alive with the hum of industry, training, and preparation. Humanity had reclaimed its place among the stars. The universe would never again believe they were gone. Captain Mara Lynn stood on the balcony looking at the horizon. The stars sparkled, distant yet familiar, as if welcoming humans back to the galaxy. She knew challenges would come again, but humanity was ready. They were united, armed, and strong. They had faced extinction and returned, not only alive but triumphant. The story of Erebos, of Captain Mara Lynn, and of humanity's resurgence spread quickly. Across systems and species, whispers of a once-forgotten race filled the void of space. A race thought extinct had returned, armed and unbroken. The galaxy now knew the truth. Humans could not be dismissed, could not be defeated easily, and would never again be underestimated. And so, humanity reclaimed its legacy not through sheer numbers, but through intelligence, courage, and unity. The Zetherians had been humbled. Allies had been impressed, and the universe had been reminded of a simple, undeniable truth. Humans survive, humans adapt, and humans are unbroken. As Captain Mara Lynn looked out at the endless stars, she smiled quietly. The battle for Erebos was over, but the journey of humanity had only just begun. The galaxy was vast, the challenges were many, and the story of humanity's strength would continue to unfold across the stars. For the first time in generations, humans were no longer hidden, no longer underestimated, and no longer silent. The galaxy had watched, and it had learned a lesson it would never forget. Humanity is alive, armed and unbroken, and somewhere in the quiet expanse of space, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter. As if acknowledging the return of a species that refused to be forgotten, the galaxy had grown quiet. For decades, news from Earth had stopped. Once humans had been a strong and proud race, fighting for their survival across the stars. Now, the major alien powers believed humanity had vanished completely. Some even whispered that Earth itself had been destroyed in the last Great War. Cities on distant colonies were empty, fleets were gone, and the signs of human civilization were few and scattered from the observation decks of the Aurelian Dominion. Admiral Korath looked at the reports coming in from the outer sectors. "All human colonies show no activity," he said, his voice carrying a mix of triumph and relief. "They are finished. The humans cannot fight anymore. The war is over." Across the galaxy, similar sentiments echoed. Leaders of the powerful Zarian Empire, the Thalric Syndicate, and even the neutral trade worlds shared the same belief. Humanity was gone. Their fleets had been destroyed, their armies scattered, their spirit broken, yet not everyone agreed. A few spies and scouts reported unusual signs, lights that blinked for no reason, ships appearing briefly in sensor logs and then disappearing, small colonies showing sudden bursts of activity. But these reports were rare and dismissed. "The humans are myths now," one Zarian commander said with a smile. "Old stories for children." On Earth, however, nothing could have been further from the truth. Hidden under the ruins of cities and beneath the surface of secret bases, humans had not only survived, they had been preparing. For years, the survivors had worked quietly. Scientists, engineers, soldiers, and ordinary citizens came together to rebuild what the aliens believed lost. Every abandoned shipyard became a center of innovation. Every silent colony became a training ground. Humans had learned to move without being seen, to strike without warning, and to plan for a time when the galaxy would forget them entirely. In the underground city of New Horizon, Commander Alina Voss walked along the polished metal floors of the Central Command Station. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing star systems and enemy positions. Her eyes scanned every detail carefully. "The aliens are moving too fast," she muttered. "They still think we are weak." Beside her, Captain Rylan Core nodded. "They will be in for a surprise when we are ready. Everything we have built, they won't see coming." Lena's gaze turned to the massive shipyard behind them. Hundreds of ships, small and large, were being built or repaired in secrecy. Some were fast strike vessels designed for rapid attacks. Others were massive warships, bristling with weapons and shields. Every ship was equipped with the newest human technology, invisible to the sensors that the aliens trusted so much. For the humans, silence had been their greatest weapon. They had learned patience, watching the galaxy grow confident in its victory. They had learned strategy, studying the enemy, understanding their habits, and preparing for the day when the first human fleet would rise again. Meanwhile, in a distant star system, a small alien scouting fleet moved through the void, expecting nothing. Their sensors swept across the empty planets, recording each abandoned city, each destroyed colony. "It is as we expected," Lieutenant Zaranal said. "The humans are gone. No threat remains." He did not see the movement. A tiny human stealth ship, smaller than any alien vessel in the fleet, glided silently through the shadows of an asteroid field. Its sensors detected the alien fleet's weak points. Its weapons were ready, but it did not strike yet. That was not the plan. The humans were patient. They did not act on instinct. They acted on strategy. Back on New Horizon, Alina and Rylan gathered the human leaders. "Today, we are only preparing," Alina said firmly. "The galaxy believes we are dead. Let them believe it a little longer. Every step we take now will make our arrival unstoppable." Engineers and pilots trained tirelessly. Simulators showed alien fleet formations, predicting every possible move. Soldiers practiced in zero-gravity chambers and virtual warfields. Children and teenagers who had grown up in the shadow of war were now learning to fly, to fight, and to think like humans had in the golden age of their spacefaring power. Even the civilians had roles. Farmers and miners collected resources for the war effort. Scientists tested new weapons and shields, improving every system. Nothing was wasted. Every effort, every life, had a purpose. Humanity was rising again, silently in the darkness. The aliens, confident and arrogant, did not notice. Reports from their scouts became less reliable. Strange attacks, small and sudden, were written off as anomalies. "A rogue ship, nothing more," a Zarian general said, dismissing the warning. "The humans are dead. This is impossible." Yet in secret, humans were watching, learning, and preparing. Small teams struck at alien supply convoys, disappearing before anyone could respond. Communication networks were hacked, feeding false information to the aliens. Every small action built the legend of the unseen human force in the quiet of a hidden hangar. Rylan Core inspected a new class of human ship. Its hull was sleek, coated in a material that absorbed alien sensors. Its engines were quiet, faster than anything in the galaxy. Weapons were loaded and ready, designed to strike before the enemy could even identify them. Soon, he whispered, they will realize we were never gone. Elena's voice came over the intercom. Command teams, prepare for the first test of our strategy. It is small, but it is important. The galaxy must begin to notice us, but only when we choose. The first strike was planned carefully. A minor alien patrol in a remote system would be the target. The humans did not seek to destroy for the sake of violence. They wanted to send a message. Humanity had survived, humanity had grown stronger, and humanity would not be underestimated again. When the operation began, stealth ships moved through the void like shadows. No sensors detected them. No alarms rang. Then, with surgical precision, the human team struck. Alien vessels were disabled, their weapons destroyed. And the patrol sent a message they would never forget. Back on New Horizon, the control room was silent except for the faint hum of machines. It went perfectly, Rylan said, a rare smile breaking his serious face. They didn't even know we were there. Lena nodded, her eyes still scanning the holographic displays. This is only the beginning. Let them continue to think we are weak. The more they underestimate us, the stronger our advantage. News of the first strike began to spread among alien networks. At first, it was dismissed as a minor accident. But as more reports arrived, panic slowly began to creep into the hearts of alien leaders. The humans. They are back, whispered one worried officer. Impossible, but real. The galaxy had grown overconfident. They had believed humans were finished. They had celebrated, thinking the war was over. But humanity had only been silent. They had only been waiting, preparing, growing stronger in the shadows, in the hidden cities. Human children played among the corridors of starships, unaware of the history they were about to make. Scientists worked late into the night, refining technology that would leave the galaxy stunned. Soldiers trained with fierce discipline, ready to face a challenge no one else could imagine. Alina and Rylan stood side by side on the observation deck, looking at the stars beyond. They assumed we had fallen, Elena said quietly. They have no idea what is coming. Rylan placed a hand on her shoulder. And when it comes, they will remember. Humanity is not gone. We are unstoppable. Above them, the stars seemed quiet and still. The galaxy did not notice the rise of a force that had been hidden for decades. But soon, very soon, the silence of humanity would end. The first whispers of fear began among the aliens. Somewhere far away, a patrol reported missing ships, and commanders scowled at their screens. Rumors spread faster than facts. Stories of invisible fleets, of strikes that came without warning, reached the halls of power. For the first time in generations, the aliens began to doubt, and in the darkness, humanity waited. They had survived. They had prepared. And the galaxy's greatest mistake was assuming they had fallen. The war was not over. In fact, it was only beginning.